Coming to you live from the City of Angels, Los Angeles, California, and all across the world, psychic, medium, and energetic healer Sheena Metal brings you Messages from Spirit.
Hi, and welcome to Messages from Spirit, only on PARAPOD TV. I'm your host, Sheena Metal. I'm a psychic medium. I'm an energetic healer. I'm a 29-year talk radio and video host in Los Angeles and beyond. I'm an interfaith minister. I'm a performing and creative artist. And I come to you live from my home in Southern California. We're here every Wednesday at 2 o'clock Pacific time. So here's what we do on Messages from Spirit. I'm a real psychic medium, and I talk to real people every day on the show, a bunch of real people. And they're going to ask some real questions, and then I'm going to work to get them some real answers from Spirit. And hopefully we'll have a real conversation, which will provide the real answers for them and real healing. That's what we do on the show. We keep it real here. It's all about that. It's all about you watching, seeing people just like you, answering the questions that have been gnawing at them, the spiritual questions, the psychic questions, and then seeing the relief when they get the answers that they need. And if you want to be a guest on the show, it's so easy. Send me a text message. If you're in the United States, 818-437-0886. If you're outside of the United States, you can hit me up on WhatsApp, 1-818-437-0886. And don't forget to visit my website, which is sheenametalspiritual.com, and follow me everywhere on social media. It's just at Sheena Metal. I'm on Facebook. I'm on TikTok. I'm on YouTube. I'm on Instagram and X, formerly Twitter. And you will see us broadcast live 3 times a week across all the social media platforms. I do a lot of free psychic readings. That's really my give back in my ministry. So please join me everywhere that you can join me. Interesting today, I've been thinking about, there's a lot going on, right, in the world. And in the last couple of weeks, I've lost a couple of people that I knew to suicide. And I know that that's a rough topic, people taking their lives, people going home, or people who are sick, deciding, I don't even want to try to get better. I'm just going to let myself decline. We hear these stories all the time, and I really believe that there are so many people on the earth with us right now carrying around not just secret pain, but secret loneliness. And a feeling like they don't belong here, or like that spirit wouldn't care if they weren't here anymore. I get that question from my clients all the time, like, would the universe even care if I wasn't here? I don't feel like I have a purpose. I don't feel like I have a passion. I don't know what my service is. And I just feel like I have been abandoned by God, and my higher power doesn't care about me. And I'm always here to give this message that your higher power cares so much about you. And every lifetime that we reincarnate into, Spirit is rooting for us. Universe wants us to have a great life, learn our lessons, overcome our obstacles, overcome the challenges that are thrown at us, fight for the light against darkness, but also, not just that, yes, and, as I like to say, also have a good life. Enjoy your life. Enjoy food and sex and laughter, and watch movies and stick your toes in the sand and roll around in the grass and have a snowball fight. All of the things that are so beautiful about being in this biological place and a body, and enjoy that. That's why we're here. We're here to enjoy our lives. And that's really one of the major reasons that Spirit has put us here and what Spirit wants for us. is for us to have a good life. They don't, yes, there are obstacles. Yes, there are challenges. Yes, this is a teaching planet. Yes, that is part of it. But it's not all about turmoil and suffering and punishment. You are here to be loved. You are here to have a good life. And know that if there are things in your life that are not good and things in your life that are not making you happy, that you can go to universe, go to your higher power, go to spirit, lean on them, and ask for the support that you need. They didn't tell us it was going to be easy here, but don't ever feel like you've been abandoned, because you've never been abandoned. There's a little bit of a message for you, for those of you who are feeling lonely or disenfranchised or defeated today. That's for you. And on that note, I'd like to give a message from spirit. So who do we have? Hi.
Hi, my name is Summer. I'm from Portage, Wisconsin. And my question for you today is if you could feel any specific energy coming from me, maybe a spirit guide or loved one that is with me often, I would just like to see what you feel.
Sure. You have a spirit guide that is, because you're very in touch with your spiritual self. And I feel that you're very in touch, Summer, with your team, which is what I like to call all the spiritual beings that take care of us. You have a spirit guide that is an off-worlder, that is extraterrestrial. Did you know that?
I didn't.
Very tall, very thin, kind of a pale. You know when a light is so white that it almost looks blue? You know when an LED light almost looks blue? That's the color of this being. Clad in a dark blue velvet looking robe. I'm sure it's not velvet, but we equate everything with the earth, right? And very deep, rich blue eyes. And this being has really been here. Your spirit guides come to you before you're born, right? They're like caseworkers, like a social worker. They're with you your whole life. And this one is really here to help you nurture your spiritual life, your spiritual gifts, and to grow your gifts to the point where you are more and more helping others on the earth. Does that make sense?
Absolutely. It makes so much sense. And it really makes me happy to hear.
When I describe this being is genderless, which is why I'm not giving it a gender. When I describe this being to you, can you see this being in your mind's eye?
I can, in a weird way. In a weird way, it blends with everything that I've ever thought that the spirit guide that I have would look like, or feel like, and be there for me for what specific reason. So
yeah, you actually have 4. Most people have between 2 and 5, but this is the one that is very prominent for you in this incarnation. So you usually have one that's dominant, that sort of runs the show, like the shift leader of spirit guides. And this one is very prominent with you because it's their goal is to help you grow your spiritual gifts, which is such an important part of your spiritual path and also of your life path in this incarnation, Summer.
Absolutely.
It's beautiful. Really beautiful, my friend. I'm sending you so much love. Think about that. And when you make your spiritual decisions for what you're doing with your path and your gifts, and your gifts are so beautiful, just think about touching base with this being and collaborate.
Oh, I will. Absolutely. Thank you so much.
You bet, sweetie. I'm sending you so much love.
Yep.
Take care. Yeah. Wow. Yeah. Spirit guides, right? They're here to help. They're assigned to us at birth. They were not on the earth with us. They're not like grandma or mom. They could only be grandma or mom if they passed before you were born. I guess mom couldn't really pass before you were born, so it can't be mom. They're here to provide guidance when we need it. I think a lot of people think that spirit guides are just like always in your face, or always nattering at you. They're really not. They're really just there if you need them. They're just there for support. They're like a net. So think of them as that, and not that they're always kind of like, how come my spirit guides aren't telling me X, Y, and Z? Because that's not what they do. They're not nattery. They're just here to step in when you need them. Trust me, if you're in a car accident and you're stuck by the side of the road with a piece of metal in your leg, those spirit guides will show up, and so will the angels. So don't worry that you're not having day-to-day communication with them, because know that they're there. All right. And with that, let's do another message from Spirit. Hi.
Hi, Sheena. I'm Sharon from Denton, Texas.
Hi, Sharon.
So I guess what I want to ask is, what does my spirit team need me to know right now? Is there something important I need to be aware of, or any guidance from them would be much appreciated.
Absolutely. So Sharon, is this kind of a time where you sort of feel like you're pulling your hair out a little bit? I feel like you're like, it's because you are in a place where you're supposed to be releasing all of the baggage all the stuff you don't need, so that you can soar. Does that make sense?
Oh, yeah.
You're moving into a new spiritual place in your life. And part of that journey is you can't take all the stuff with you. It would be like if you got this really cool gig, on Mars, but obviously you're not allowed to bring everything from your house with you. So you have to just bring the things that are important to you for this journey. And so sometimes when we're ascending, I always use the analogy of like the hot air balloon that can't go up if the basket's too heavy, and the image of people throwing the sandbags and everything off the side to make it light enough to lift. For part of the ascension sometimes is letting go of that stuff you don't need. And I'm not talking about like stuff in your house or, don't be a hoarder. I know people are all freaked out about that. Look, it's not about that. It's not about stuff in your house. It's about things that hold you back emotionally. Now, if stuff in your house is something that holds you back emotionally, that's another thing. But it's really about letting go of relationships with people that didn't work, hanging on to toxic people that need to be let go of, blaming yourself for things you had no control over. These kind of things are what weigh our balloon basket down and stop us from being able to ascend. So right now, I think the frustration that you're feeling is spirit sort of like knucklehead, knocking on your head saying, we're trying to lift the basket, baby, but you got to kick this stuff out before we can, because you're very hard on yourself, Sharon, and you don't need to be.
Mm-hmm. Indeed.
That makes sense, right?
Yes. Actually, when you said frustration or frustrated, I have been saying this past week, I am so frustrated about like where I'm at, what I'm supposed to be doing. So that super resonates, and I'm very hard on myself, and I'm trying to kick the habit, and I'm getting help where it's needed. So
good.
But yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah, you don't have to, just because you're an empath, and we all do this, right? You don't have to blame yourself for everything. An empath always falls back on, what did I do? And, narcissists are out there and they're just saying like, what did you do? So we're like, oh my God, it was me. I did do it. But it's not. You have to stop. Part of letting the stuff go so the basket can lift is you have to stop blaming yourself for everything, because blame and taking responsibility for stuff that's not yours, that's a very heavy blanket that weighs you down,
Oh, yeah. And I've felt it for sure. So I'm trying to let it go. So
good for you. Good for you. You're in good shape, my friend. You take care of you.
Yes, you too, Sheena. Thank you so much.
You betcha. Yeah, you guys, let it go. Let it go. Let it go. It's so important. You got to let that stuff go. And it's funny because when I say you have to let things go, people always say like, oh, do I have to get rid of some clothes in my closet? Because we're so conditioned by society to think that if we have more than 3 pairs of pants or more than 4 knickknacks on our shelves, that like we're a hoarder. It's just, I think that's a way to compensate for us not getting to the root of what the real problem is, which is we're not letting go of the emotional stuff and the spiritual baggage that needs to be let go. It's 100% what's going on. So let it go, friends. Let it go. All right? Okay. I'm sending you so much love. So much love, everybody. Let it go. Throw those sandbags off and let your hot air balloon ascend. All right, let's do another message from Spirit.
Hi, I'm Karen from Fairfield, Ohio.
Hi, Karen. How are you? What's your question for me today?
I'm good. I have constantly see out of the corner of my eyes shadows, tall, short, little.
Uh-huh.
Just wondering if you know who any of them are.
Okay, so first of all, you have gifts. Congratulations, you have gifts. Karen, and my condolences, you have gifts. Those are shadow people. So they're not like, Uncle Bob who passed, or the neighbor lady who passed, or my cat that passed. They're very definite, definitive kind of interdimensional. Especially the tall ones, the tall, spindly ones, right?
Mm-hmm.
That almost are like kind of spider people that you see out of the corner of your eyes.
Yes.
Yeah, they're very, very interesting. A very interesting breed of interdimensional. I think they're the most common ones, are the very tall ones. The little ones tend to hide. Mm-hmm. Like you'll see them like in a bush or hiding around a corner. But they're interdimensionals and they're watchers. They like to watch us and observe our behavior. They're usually not dangerous, although like anything, it can be light or dark, right? And sometimes you encounter one that's not very nice. I had one push me once. I think more to get attention, mm-hmm. more than anything else. I was, when I bought my house 30 something years ago, I used to see them at the community pool all the time. And in the beginning, inside of my home, and I didn't know what they were. I was 23 years old, and you call the doctor and they're like, we did just put you on that medication for muscle relaxing. And I'm like, and that makes you see the shadow people? Anyway, so I was packing up my mom's car to go with a friend and my ex to my mom's for Christmas. And they were having a discussion about whether or not the shadow people were real. And all of a sudden, one kind of pushed me into the hatchback of my friend's car. And I think it was just to prove that the shadow people were real. But they're not like malevolent. They're not demonic. They're not going to hurt you. They're just watchers. And I would say communicate with them. But I think it's futile because I don't think they communicate back. They're really just there watching, and you're not supposed to see them, but you do. And like the dogs see them and the cats see them, like animals that are more in touch with their spirituality. We're not a very in tune animal compared to the animal kingdom. They'll see them all the time. I mean, you'll see my cat like whipping his head around him like, I don't want to know, Cullen. I don't want to know. But yeah, so don't worry about it, but just know that it's a sign that you have gifts, and they're probably watching you extra much because you have gifts, sweetheart, and that fascinates them.
Okay.
All right, but don't be scared. They're not going to hurt you.
No, I'm not scared of them.
All right. Take care, my friend.
Thank you. Bye.
Good to have you here. Yeah, don't fear it. Don't fear it, baby. Don't fear it. Don't fear the interdimensionals. Now, when I say that, let me stop and say there are some that are creepy, but the shadow people, usually not. Now, can you see a spirit? A negative spirit, positive spirit, spirit of a dead person that looks like a shadow? Sure. But it's a different kind of shadow. It's usually more of a gray shadow. Sometimes if it's very dark, negative, it can be darker, like a blackish. Usually those shadow figures, though, are more almost humanoid in the way they look. They're a little more defined. These things are very spindly, and you usually always see them from the side. So you'll see them out of the corner of your eyes. They're very tall, and they almost look like an animated stick figure, kind of. Those are most definitely interdimensionals. And most interdimensionals are just here watching. They just want to see what we're up to. I think we just fascinate them. I'm not entirely sure why, but I think that, maybe we're like God's ant farm. We're like, what are they going to do today, those weird humans? All right, let's do another message from Spirit. Hi.
Hi, I'm Zach. I'm from South Point, Ohio.
Hi, Zach. What's your question for me today?
My question for you today is, am I heading finally down the correct path for me?
I think you are. You've had some troubles and some hiccups, huh, sweetheart?
Oh yeah.
It's been a rougher road, and I see that the roughest part of the road, Zach, has really been you coming home to you, right? You getting that locked in feeling, that plugged in feeling, where your head and your heart and your soul are all sort of firmly connected to your gut, and everything is sort of working in tandem. It's taken you a while to get there, huh?
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like even though you're there, there's a part of you that still sort of doesn't believe that you're there. Like it still is very foreign to you, this very connected feeling, right?
Yeah.
Don't fear it. It's just new, sweetie. But it's exactly where you're supposed to be. It's how it's supposed to feel. I know right now it kind of feels like a new pair of shoes you haven't broken in yet, but that's okay because it's new and you will get used to it and it will become secondhand extremely quickly. You've just remember and keep saying to yourself, honey, you've been through a lot. You have been through a lot of stuff. And you have come out now a victor of that circumstance. And it's okay that it almost feels strange to feel good, but you're allowed, and this is how you're supposed to feel, right, hon?
That's what people keep saying. I guess that's the part I just can't. I don't know. It's so foreign.
It's okay. Look, when you felt like hell for a long time, and then you start to feel better, it feels weird. And also there's almost a weird kind of imposter syndrome that comes with that. Like, wait a minute, what did I do to deserve feeling good? And also a little bit of like a survivor's guilt, right? Like, well, wait a minute, so many other people aren't feeling good. Why is it suddenly happening to me? But that's all part of it, sweetie. And that's part of what you have to reconcile in yourself. And the feeling of everything being connected will help you with that. You have to realize that you're a beautiful, blessed, lovely soul, and you have a right to feel happy as much as anybody has a right to feel happy. And it's a good thing that good things are happening for you. It's not a scary thing, and it's not a wrong thing, and it's not something you don't deserve. It's beautiful, and you have to allow yourself to enjoy your life now, right? You've come through a lot. You've come out the other side. You're really getting your poop in a group, so to speak. And now you're allowed to enjoy your life, right, darling? And that's okay. You just have to get used to the fact that you're allowed to. It's like somebody who wins the lottery and they think they're not deserving of it, so they give all the money away. Like you have to realize that you're deserving of this lottery that you have won, which is being allowed to be happy in your life, right?
Yeah.
Because you're so beautiful and your energy is so beautiful and you're so special. You're just the one who doesn't believe that. And that's okay because Spirit is working every day now to show you signs to convince you that you're that wonderful.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Definitely.
And this is just the time for you to enjoy your life now, sweetheart, because it's all good news.
Okay.
All right. Take care, love. I'm so happy for you.
Thank you.
You know what I love the most about this show? Well, basically, here's what I love about this show. Everything. I love being here every week. I love being a part of the PARAPOD TV family. I love my friend Tony Sweet, who owns the PARAPOD Network, runs the PARAPOD Festival, and also runs two wonderful radio stations, UBN Go and LGBTQI Go. I love my wonderful engineer and producer, Emery, who literally makes the world go round here. I love talking to all of you every week and getting you the answers that you seek. But above and beyond all of that, I love the healing. I love the energy that just came out of Zach right now when he realized that Spirit had healed him, that he had taken in the light and has allowed the light to fix his life in a lot of ways. And that feeling of knowing that you're healed. You know, growing up not religious and being fascinated by all my friends that grew up, and I'll talk about my Christian friends that grew up very Christian, talking about, you know, the light of God coming in and healing, and thinking, what is that? Because I didn't grow up with that. And then getting more firm into my spirituality as I became a teenager and realizing, oh yeah, you know what? They got it right there. There is a light that comes from Spirit, God, higher power, Goddess, Great Spirit, universe, whatever you want to call them. And it literally comes into you, and it lifts you up. It's exalting, and it's so beautiful. And you just allow yourself to be healed. It's wonderful. And it's a journey that I've been on this past 5 weeks of recovering from a health thing, with my stomach, which is, you know, right, solar plexus chakra, right, where all the healers get hit, and realizing that sometimes you just got to step out of the way and let your body heal itself. And it's the same thing with your soul. It's the same thing with your mind. Sometimes you just need to stop toxifying yourself and allow Spirit to come in and heal the rest. So, boy, Zach, what a great journey you're on, and how exciting is that? And you are wonderful. So let's give another message from Spirit. Hi.
Hi, I'm Nicole. I am from Athens, Georgia.
Beautiful.
Good being here, Sheena.
It's nice to have you here. What's your question today, sweetie?
Okay, I was hoping you can help me kind of
Sure.
understand what happened. Had an experience actually during childbirth with my son.
Okay.
There was a moment there where I actually stopped breathing. Have no idea what happened. All I remember is I was in a garden, and I saw my grandmother, who had died previous, the same year, and it was a beautiful garden, and she told me that I needed to go back because my son was coming. This was happened before he was actually born. And I remember seeing a white light, and I felt a hand grab me from behind. I say it was a he. I felt like maybe it was Michael grabbed my hand. But before he did that, I saw this little girl kind of playing around in the garden. And my grandmother kind of like put her arms out like this, and she's like, it's not time yet. And I'm nervous. And I'm just going to say it was Michael. He kind of pulled me back, and I was rushed back basically to my body. And then the nurses was like pounding me on my chest. I don't know if they were doing CPR or whatever. And all I know is that they were telling me to breathe, and that's all I remember.
Okay.
So can you help me?
Yeah. So this is a very typical near-death experience, sweetheart.
That's kind of what I was feeling.
It was not your time. You weren't even given a choice. So you flat out were not allowed to stay home. Oftentimes during a near-death experience, you're given a choice. Yeah. Your grandma sees you as that little girl. So when you go home to her, when it's your time, she will see you as about that age, because that's how she quantifies you. Does that make sense? Yeah. She thinks of you as that little girl at that age. Yeah, you definitely got picked up by your bootstraps by an angelic and put back in the earth like, it's not happening.
Right.
It's very common that you will see angelics, or that angelics will will ride along with you, or folks that work for angelics. Like when you pass, they talk about the ferrymen who sort of
Yes.
get you across. Well, those are not necessarily angelics. They're people who have passed that now sort of work at home for universe, but they work under the beautiful umbrella of Archangel Raphael. So they work for angelics, but they're not angelics, because angelics
Right.
were human, right? So yeah, that's exactly what happened to you, is that you somebody said, not today, and pulled you right back into the earth. It's actually a very beautiful story. It's a very common story, not
Yeah.
exactly that story, but the highlights, right? So don't
Right.
think you made it up. Don't think it's weird, because it's what happens when you have a near-death experience.
Okay. Thank you so much, because I was always wondering what was that? Because also, like, I was alone during my pregnancy, well, during my labor and everything. My mother hadn't gotten there yet. So I didn't actually have anyone to explain what was going on.
Right.
But I remember vividly the garden. I remember my grandmother being there, and I was like, was this just a dream? But me being who I am, I was like, no, I know what I saw, because when I was 10 years old, I actually saw my grandfather right after he died, actually in my backyard. He was miles and miles away, surrounded by a blue light. I was like, no, I know I saw this.
Yeah.
And I was like, this had to be what I experienced, but
Absolutely.
nobody could
what's the
actually
story?
told me that I stopped breathing or anything. I don't know
Yeah.
if they were scared to.
Yeah. It's so, now were you not awake during your pregnancy?
No, during this time I wasn't awake. The only thing I remember when I was coming to is that I heard nurses saying something on the lines I wasn't breathing, and that my son's heartbeat dropped. And then right after that, when my mother did arrive at the hospital, I was rushed to emergency C-section.
Okay. And did they ever tell you what happened?
No.
It feels like your blood pressure just dropped really low.
That would make sense, because I later on found out that I was having blood pressure problems, and also my actual doctor wasn't there, and the whole pregnancy my family was nervous, especially my mother, because my aunt had actually died during childbirth with
Oh.
to my cousin. She died, so my mother was kind of nervous during the whole thing. My son was born in August, and that May my grandmother actually passed away before he was born. So when I saw her, she was like, nope, your
Yep.
son's coming.
Nope, not today.
Yep. She's like, he needs you.
You don't have to go home, but you can't stay here. Isn't
Right.
that weird, though, that I used that analogy of spirit guides, and I said your mother could never be, because your mother couldn't die before you were ready to come in, and then you had that story. Isn't that strange?
Yeah.
There are no accidents, right?
Right,
you're in
exactly.
good shape, sweetheart, and I don't want you to give a second thought to it. Just, what I'd like for you to do is just think about it now that you know it really happened. Give it some thought, and think about how good it felt to be home. Think about what it felt like when you were there, and
Yeah.
remember that feeling, and know that someday you'll go back to that feeling, and your grandma will be there.
Right. I will. Whenever I do feel down, I think about that moment, and it's such a beautiful moment. So I always think about that whenever I do have a bad day, actually. And it's like, it's just beautiful. And I always share that garden experience with other
Yeah.
people.
Beautiful.
And it's just lovely.
It's beautiful. You are wonderful, my friend. Thank you so much for being here. What
Thank
a beautiful
you, Sheena.
story.
Thank
Take
you
care.
so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. What a great story. I mean, that's what happens. I had one myself when I was 23, and I was in an automobile accident. This is what happens. You go home, and it's that beautiful. And I was given a choice and chose to come back. She was not. Sometimes you're not. Sometimes they just flat out tell you what you're doing. Sometimes, they say you have free will here, and you do, but sometimes that free will it's sometimes that free will is conditional. Sometimes they just say, no, I'm sorry, we're making the decision today. And that happens when you're alive too, with things in your life. Sometimes spirit's like, free will, free schmell. No, this is what you're doing. It's rare, but it does happen. So don't ever freak out in your life if it happens. All right, let's do another message from spirit. Hi.
Hi, Sheena. How are you?
I'm good. Who are you and where are you from?
Yeah, hi. I'm Ron from Palm Springs, California.
Beautiful, my friend. I will be there next month.
Oh, good. Congratulations. A wonderful place to be this time of the
I'd
year.
love to go.
Yes.
Yes, I will be out. I'm speaking at a women's event in November, so I'll be out there. Maybe I will see your face.
All right, perhaps. So I've given this thought, and I'm living in the possibility that the question that I have, and it is specific, but isn't hopefully not too broad.
Okay.
First, let me just say quickly that I'm an adult child of a narcissistic mother, so I've had to learn to live with that in my life. Now she's experiencing signs of dementia, and so things are progressing. I also learned through the help of a friend at a church I belonged to in Hollywood when I lived there that I'm an empath, and I didn't quite understand that. It took me some time, and even a numerology reading I had done a few years later said that which makes a lot of sense, experience all the emotions and sensitivity and the energy and vibrations of all the people even below me with the lower end life numbers, I think it was. So with that in mind, I've learned to live with this and appreciate this, even perhaps as a gift. But the one challenge that I continue to face by having had a narcissistic parent is my notion, my whole concept of love is completely convoluted. Now, when it comes to the love of a friend, a family member, I think that I'm doing okay, but it's more on a personal level. So the question that I have is, do I have a chance at this later in life at finally coming to an understanding of genuine, authentic love, of myself, but also of another person, another spirit soul, more in the romantic sense, because then that notion in that area I failed continuously. And I think it does come back to probably having had a struggle my whole life with the ability to love that inner child that they talk about inside of me, having had a mother who couldn't express that love.
Absolutely. It's really important that you, and here's a good way to do it. Now that your mom is going into dementia and she is no longer able to be the narcissist that she once was, why don't you use that as your excuse to let it all go, sweetheart, and to say, look, this is what she was. This is how I suffered from what she was. Now she no longer is that because she no longer can be, so I no longer have to be under the spell of that. And now I can be who spirit always meant for me to be, which is somebody who knows how to love and trust another person, and also knows how to pick a person who's not just a model of my mother, who's also a narcissist.
Right.
You know what
exactly.
I mean? My father was a narcissist, and I've managed to pick partners in my life of both genders that were so much like him. And how could you keep doing it? And every time I thought I was finding somebody all empathic like my mom, and then boom, just like him. So it's so important that we break that cycle, and it can be done. And now is the perfect time, like I said, because you can say, you know what? She's not even the narcissist she was anymore because she doesn't know how to be. So I don't have to live under that fear anymore. The dragon is no longer the dragon.
Yeah.
So I don't have to sit outside the cave in fear of the dragon anymore.
All right. Well, that makes sense. Yeah, because I say I've had a number of situations, and it was always a pattern clearly where I find myself really attracted in a physical sense to somebody, and even drawn to a few people who love me dearly and just bonded with me and opened up their entire life and their mental state. But in the end, always said, but I never ever gave you any indication, that this was that kind of love, and
Right.
and even did things that a significant other might not do. So again, this contact. So now I probably do have this sort of fear, and I do find myself drawn to other narcissists. Oftentimes, the draw
Sure.
more than the physical is just so powerful. And then when they
Yeah.
open up themselves, I go, bingo, see another narcissist. It's like I'm just, everywhere I turn, these are the people that I just want to run to. And I know when part of me, when I want to just wrap my arms around them and love them, I know what's really happening. I'm wanting to love myself, that inner child that never felt that,
Yeah.
strong
It's like,
bond.
it's like trying to get kisses from a snake. It's just not going to happen.
Right. Exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So now you can go clean slate. Mama's in a different place. The narcissist is no longer around. And now I no longer have to live under this spell anymore.
Okay,
It's like how when the head vampire dies, all the vampires are free. You know what I mean? You get to be free now.
All right, well, I'll try that. I mean, she's still in my life, and I'm still, I'm basically a caregiver, even from a distance. But you're right. Some of this, she's becoming not the person that I knew, and I understand
And
that. But
feared.
she still has those qualities in her, though.
Yeah, of
And
course.
that's the thing, too.
Of
So
course.
okay, all right.
But
you
you know what I
see that
mean?
there's a path if I work on letting go. That there.
You just have to give yourself permission to
Okay.
find somebody who's like you and not like her.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Well, thank you so much. Blessings to you.
I'm right here for you, my friend. Blessings. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you so
Bye-bye.
much. You got this. Bye.
Okay. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Man, that's a hard one. It's hard. It's hard not to fall in with people who are just like the narcissist. And my father and I didn't even really have a relationship hardly. And my mother and I were like attached at the hip. It was like I never quite really came out of the umbilical cord was always connected. But for some reason I always wound up picking people that were like him. So it's a pattern that can be broken, and you can do it. You just have to give yourself permission to no longer be the prey of the vampire anymore. That's really important. All right. And I hope you all release yourselves from that. Let's do another message from Spirit. Hi.
Hi, Sheena. I'm Erin from Raleigh, North Carolina.
Hi, Erin.
How are you doing today?
Sweetie, how are you?
I'm good. I wanted to find out a little bit about my career path. I feel like I'm kind of stuck and spinning my wheels right now.
Yeah.
I'm in a temp position. I just got out of a kind of a really bad situation where I was a few weeks ago for a few months, and I just don't know where I'm headed. Everything I look at, I find some reason not to apply, and
Well, that's the opposite, though. You should be applying for everything. Don't let that bad situation make you scared to pursue a new situation. You know what I mean? It's like when you're in a relationship with a toxic person and they tell you, you're never going to find anyone better than me. Well, that's like complete crap, right? But that's how they scare you into thinking that you're never going to find anybody better than them. It's the same thing with the job. Don't let the negativity of this job loom large over you and make you feel like you can't get past it, because you 100% can. You don't need to be a part of this energy, and you're not going to find it in every single job. You know what I mean? Don't let yourself get in the mentality of, oh God, every job's going to suck like this one sucked, because it's not true. So apply for everything. And Spirit is saying, try new things. There are new areas that you can be moving into, new things you've never done before, job-wise. Find something that really excites you, that really lifts you up, that really sets your soul on fire, and make it a completely different experience than the last one was. So there's not that icky residue, Yeah. So important.
Okay. Yeah.
And believe. You've lost a little bit of your belief.
Yes. That's
Your
very
sense
true.
of belief. You've had a hard summer.
Yes.
And it's made you lose your sense of believing.
Yes.
Does that make sense?
That makes sense. Yes.
Yes. You just got to believe, babe.
Yes. Yes. I'm just, I had a interview last week, and just having the patience of just waiting and not believing that they're ever going to get back to you, and just trying
and
to.
if they don't, then Spirit saved you from the wrong one. That's the thing.
Yes.
You have to believe that Spirit's going to place you in the right place, sweetie. And that's why you just keep applying, and just keep going to the interviews until you find the one where you're the perfect match for them and they're the perfect match for you.
Right.
It's like getting discouraged on a
Okay.
dating site every time somebody isn't right. You know, oh God, I got to swipe this way again. I'm never going to find somebody. You can't. You have to just keep moving, right? Keep moving till you find the right one.
Okay. All right.
You're going to be okay, sweetie. Everything's going to be okay. You just have to believe
Okay.
in you.
All
All
right.
right. Sending you so much love. Good job is coming. By
All
the end
right.
of the year.
Thank you.
Take care,
All
sweetie.
right. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
See, don't give up. Don't be discouraged. What a great group of people we had today. How exciting is this? I get so excited when so many beautiful people have so many beautiful questions and we get them some messages from spirit, and hopefully they get the answers they seek and the healing they need, which is so very important. And you are also very important to me. If you'd like to be a guest on the show, send me a text message, 818-437-0886. That's my actual cell phone. Here it is, 818-437-0886, and say, I would like to be a guest on Messages from Spirit, and we will get you in the schedule. We're usually booked about a month ahead, so just be prepared for that. And how exciting is that to just new people, 8 new people every single week is so exciting. Please visit my website and learn more about me. It's sheenametalspiritual.com. And you can also find me on social media at Sheena Metal. That's Facebook, and it's TikTok, and it's Instagram, and it's YouTube, and it's Twitter. Please follow all my pages and learn more about what I do and what makes me tick. I would love that. And also, remember, you're here for a purpose. Like I started the show out saying, you are needed. There's a reason you are here. You're not supposed to go home early. And Spirit loves you and has your back and wants to hold your tiny little human hand in their big giant spirit hand and wants you to have the best and most beautiful life possible. And you will find that life. And until I see you next Wednesday at 2:00 Pacific time, only on PARAPOD TV, delivering more messages from Spirit, I'm Sheena Metal, and I want you to seek peace, live in love, lead with kindness, embrace unity, always work to raise your vibration, and know that you are love, and you are loved, and you're loved by me. I'm Sheena. This is Messages from Spirit, only on PARAPOD TV. I'll see you next week. Stay beautiful.